Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Heard You Like Me Chapter 60, and this one is titled Improvements. After this, do you want me to help you with your quirk? You asked her. She nodded. Yeah, that'd be great, she said. But don't worry, I can do some practice on my own too. Yeah, okay, but I do kind of need you to help me with this one though, you said. I work better with my girlfriend right beside me. She blushed and you nudged her with your elbow, then looked up at the cutouts ahead. Okay, you said, closing your eyes. There are 4 sounds, right? And I have to tell you which sound is the closest and which one is the furthest? Yeah, she nodded. Okay, you said, pushing your hands into your pockets, still with eyes closed. Let's do this. She nodded and held up a remote that had different buttons on it. Holding her hand steady, she pushed the first button and waited for the sound. The sound of a bell ringing went off and you nodded. Okay, next, you said, and she pressed the next button, which made the sound of a cow mooing. Was that Minetta saying something? You joked. She snorted. Okay, next, Jirou said, pushing the next button. It was a fart sound. Okay, now that was Minetta for sure, right? You joked again. Yeah, actually it wouldn't surprise me if he put this one in. I didn't realise it was a fart sound, Jirou said as she pushed the last button that had the sound of a trumpet playing a little tune. You nodded and then stood still for a second. That's all of them? You asked. Yeah, that's all of them, she said, and you nodded and opened your eyes. Okay, it's trumpet, fart sound, bell, cow? Yeah, Jirou said with surprise. You're very good, Yin. The cow and the bell are very close in range, but you could tell them apart? I honestly wasn't too sure which one was closer for a second, but then figured it was the bell, just from a few little peaks in my quirk, but aside from that, you would have tricked me, you admitted with a chuckle. Amazing, she said. I want to see how close I can get them before you can't tell which one's closer, she added with a little twinkle in her eye. Oh ho! Challenge accepted, you replied with a mischievous grin. You're on, girlie. And so for the next half of the class, you worked tirelessly on how to differentiate between the sounds and managed to get them about 96% success rate. And although you were bummed it wasn't higher, Jirou did point out that she had been placing the speakers very close together, sometimes almost one behind the other, and she commended you on being able to pick up that much, considering no normal person would be able to pinpoint that accurately. Call me a stickler, but you would think that someone who was born with the quirk would have 100% control over it, right? You mused. Well, not really, Jirou replied as you walked out of the arena together after class had ended. That's why they give you multiple forms to fill out when you first get your quirk, because your understanding of how it works might change over the years. Actually, yeah, true, you have a point, you said, thinking about it. I guess I just want to be the best at using my quirk. Well, I think you are, Jirou said, and you gave her a sideways glance and a smile. Thanks, baby. You're always in my corner, you said gratefully. Speaking of corner, should we go out tonight with Momo and go to the corner shop or something? You know, just us 3, she asked. Are you asking me on a date? You asked with playful surprise. Jirou, I didn't know you felt that way about me, you joked. Oh, also, can you call me by my first name? She asked, and you stopped dead in your tracks and looked at her. Oh my god, I didn't even think to ask what your first name was, you said with surprise. I'm so sorry, that was unintentional. Sorry, what is your first name? Quirk, she said, and you pretended to almost faint. Yeah, okay, I know why I didn't want to use your first name though, that's so hot. Who had the audacity to name you such a sweet name? Now I'm going to be tripping over myself every time I say it, you said playfully. Jirou smiled but covered her mouth with her hand shyly. Well, yeah, like you can talk. You have a hot name too, Yin, she said, and for a second you felt the hair on the back of your neck stand on end and a rush of heat shoot through you. I've never heard my name said so sweetly before, you replied with a wink. Okay, Quirk, let's rally the 3rd piece to our 3-piece puzzle, and then we can work out what we want to do and where we want to go. Sounds good, Yin. Okay, I'm about to pass out, Quirk. Stop saying my name so sweetly, you teased, lunging at her and grabbing her into a hug as you continued to walk down the hall towards the lockers to get your clothes and change. Momo was very keen to go out for dinner that night, and so after quickly dropping off your bags in your dorm rooms, you met Jirou on the bottom level of Heights Alliance and all left together, walking down to the corner store to where other restaurants were lined up alongside it to decide what you wanted to eat for that night. I'm very easy, you said, slinging an arm across both girls' shoulders as you walked between them, giving both a side hug with your hands pulling them into you. What about some Thai cuisine? Momo asked. I've actually never tried it, Jirou admitted shyly. Oh, Jirou, you have to try it, Momo said emphatically. Yeah, Quirk, you said, giving her a sly smile, which she blushed at. Oh, Momo said in her mind, startled when you had used Jirou's first name. You glanced at Momo to see if she would say anything out loud, but she didn't, so you let it be and continued to walk, adding more to the conversation to keep it going. Yeah, Thai's good, let's go there, you suggested, and then steered both girls to the restaurant door ahead and entered. Dinner was delicious, and Jirou was happy that she had agreed to the food, as it was very nice, and then it came time to leave, so with one last thank you to the owners, you paid for your meals and then left, walking between your girls as you headed back to the dorms. Jirou was chatty as usual, but Momo was a little more quiet than usual, and although you kept checking into her inner thoughts, she was keeping them very light, so you determined that you were going to talk to her about it later. The shock of hearing you use Jirou's first name was probably the cause of her clamming up, but you wanted to be sure of it and work out what the problem was. On the way back home, you all detoured to walk along the local riverbank and watch the street lights flickering reflections in the water, and while you were walking and talking, you came across a small skate park. Oh! You said as you stopped for a second to look at it. Skate park. It was like when a puppy had seen a bird while out walking and you just froze, staring at it. Jirou looked over in the direction of Heights Alliance and noted that it wasn't far from the dorms, so decided to give you a little option. Hey, do you want to run back and get your board and come back and skate for a bit? She asked. We still have some time before curfew and the sun has only just set. We can wait for you here and watch you skate for a bit. You looked at her. Have I ever told you how amazing you are? You asked her, bending your head down to kiss her on the forehead. Are you okay with that, Momo? You then asked your taller girl. Oh, I think that would be wonderful. I haven't seen you on your new board yet, she said with a smile, and you grinned at both of them and then turned and sprinted for the dorms. As you took off, Jirou waited until you were out of hearing range and then turned to Momo. Hey, you okay? She asked the taller girlfriend. I'm fine. Why do you ask? Momo asked politely, placing her arms in front of herself gently. I asked because you kind of went a bit quiet after Yin called me by my first name, she said. Momo's face fell slightly. Oh, you could tell? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to act differently, she said sadly. Yes, I will admit that took me by surprise a little. But why? Yin has always called you by your first name, Jirou asked. It would only be fair for her to do the same for me. Oh, I know, Momo said sadly. And I'm so sorry. I let my jealousy get in the way. Time for a little heart-to-heart, I think, with Momo and Jirou, but it'll have to wait until next week. So I will see you next week for Chapter 61 of Heard You Like Me. Until then, Sarah is coming tomorrow. See you then.